The concept of work is important and has a lot of practical uses in real life. These concepts, however basic, will lay down the foundation of concepts in manufacturing, engineering, and many other related fields. When solving elementary algebra work problems, we should know that we might encounter several cases. The first case involves one worker only. In later examples, we will be discussing other cases where two or more workers are involved. Let us look at the first case, the case where we only have one worker. In this case, we use the general formula for work problems, and that is W equals R times T, where W is the amount of work to be done, R is the rate or speed of the worker doing the work, and T is the time to do the work. But before we continue discussing the concepts, there is one very important assumption that we should always remember. To simplify work problems, we should always assume that workers work at a specific or constant rate, the worker's average speed. Meaning, we acknowledge, of course, that workers may work a little faster or slower at times, but we use their average rate in working to approximate a constant speed or never-changing rate, which is of course more friendly for easier estimations in work problems. With that out of the way, we can now continue exploring the formula given above. W equals R times T. From this, we know we can get the work done by simply multiplying the rate and time. But what if we are looking for the rate? What formula can we use? We know, of course, that W, R, and T are numerical values. So in case we want to compute the rate R, we use the same formula and aim to isolate R on the right side by removing T. To do this, we use properties of equality. And as we divide both sides of the equation by T, then cancel it, we conclude that R equals W over T. We now have a formula for R. Or we can say that the rate can be solved by dividing the work done by the time. This is a very important concept. Thus, we should memorize it, as it will help us easily solve work problems. Just in case we need to get T, we use a similar process, as shown, by dividing both sides of the original formula by R to get the time, which is W over R. Another way of figuring this out is by using a sort of magic triangle as shown. We just remember that W should be on top of the triangle while R and T should be placed below. To get work, we simply multiply the rate and time. To get the rate, again something we should memorize, simply divide work by time. And finally, to get the time, simply divide the work done by the rate. With this triangle, we should be able to remember how to get each value given the two others. But we really don't need to memorize the three formulas though, because if we know the basics, which is W equals R times T, we should be able to derive the other two. As we said earlier, getting the rate is usually a very important step in solving work problems. So let's have a quick demonstration. Please follow as I read the problem. A carpenter can make 16 chairs in 4 days. What is his rate? Okay, let's compute for that. Let's identify the given first. We see two values here. Let's write them down. 16 chairs and 4 days. Now let's identify what are these values. 4 days, definitely yan yung time. Now, ang problem is, ano ba yung chair? Now, our worker is a carpenter. Therefore, we can say 16 chairs is the work to be done. Now, what is his rate? We know, of course, a formula to solve for the rate, which is work over time. So we simply solve by substituting work is 16 chairs, and the time required to do the work is 4 days. Simplifying these values, 16 over 4 is 4 with the unit chairs per day. So that's the rate, it's 4 chairs per day. That's how fast the carpenter makes chairs. Now, this is just one of infinitely many other possible units. We may encounter other units of rate such as if, for example, ang worker mo is a reader, somebody who reads, the rate would be in words per minute, maybe. If your worker is a painter, siguro pwedeng paintings per month. If, for example, ang worker mo is not a person but a swimming pool water pump, then maybe yung rate niya can be measured by pools or number of pools na kaya niyang i-fill per hour. Or, pwede rin naman if our worker is in a hot dog eating contest, pwede siguro yung unit ng rate niya is hot dogs per minute. Again, these are just some of the many possibilities. Now we're ready for our first example.